This is the secret real estate strategy that banks and realtors and the institution don't want you guys to know about. That's what we're talking about tonight, all right, on the GoGetter Family's YouTube channel. I've got a special guest, serial entrepreneur, Darren Fettik. He's out of Jacksonville, Florida. Or wait, Fort Lauderdale, I believe it is. Florida. Either way, he's coast to coast properties, man. So he's getting them all over Florida. He got 27 houses in 2 years by becoming the bank. We don't go do credit checks and, most of the time don't use a lump sum of money out of our own pocket. We're going to talk about that tonight. All right. So I appreciate you guys coming. My name is Gene Boykin. I'm the founder of the GoGetter Family. This one's going to be a hot one, guys. And we're going to answer questions the second half of the show. All right. Stick with me.
I'm a go-getter. They some go-getters. We some go-getters. Hope you a go-getter. Let's get it. I'm a go-getter. They some go-getters. We some go-getters. Hope you a go-getter. Let's get it. I'm a go-getter. Hustle to the end. We some no-quitters. Knock it out the park. We for show hitters. Right, left hemisphere. That's a dome splitter. Yeah. We control our own destiny. Make moves. Cultivate whole legacy. Creative finance. Bring more ecstasy. The right ingredients. Now that's a dope recipe.
Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey.
Thanks for joining me. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you feel we bring you some value tonight, consider subscribing. All right. So I'm here with a special guest, man. My guy, Darren Fettik. All right. He's are you in Fort Lauderdale?
No, Jacksonville. You were right.
Okay. I thought I was, man. A lot going on. So he's down there in Florida. I actually met him in Orlando at Lou Brown's Millionaire Jumpstart. So it was heard a couple stories about him. He was there getting more knowledge, giving some knowledge, and I'm glad I met him, man. So Darren, introduce yourself, man, to the viewers. Tell them who you are and kind of what you do.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm Darren Fettik. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. Moved down to Jacksonville back in '97. Started a business up doing car audio mainly. We do car customization, so car audio, window tint, stuff like that. Started growing that. Started bringing in vehicle wraps and things like that. And then I expanded and did a mobile window tint business. And then I also started a window tint school. So that's a completely separate business on the other side of town. So we have people fly all over the country, all over the world, actually, Honduras, Haiti, Colombia, Mexico, Alaska, all over Canada. They fly in, they take our class. It's a 5-day class. That's a great trade to learn, as far as how easy it is to make the money. You make a lot of money with these ceramic tint jobs nowadays. So it's a real good trade that doesn't cost a lot to get into.
Yeah.
So we expanded into that, and then I started doing real estate. I did some real estate in the 90s, but I had no clue what I was doing. I just got it in my overhead. I took a class real quick and fell right on my face. So I had 7 properties back then, and they all went into foreclosure. I was just frustrated with them. So got rid of those. And
hold on. I got to unpack that for 1 second, man. That's pretty interesting. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that.
So because I put it on the, on the thumbnail, man, 27 houses in 2 years. Right. But we'll talk about that, guys. So for the viewers, I need to see you guys hitting that like button, get us in that algorithm. We're about to give you some game. 97 in the 90s. How many houses? And then tell me how you financed them. And then we'll kind of lost them too.
So back then, it had to be 1999 probably. I had the first stereo shop I had a partner with that, and he had a Carlton Sheets CD set back then.
Okay,
I've heard. A lot of people heard it. A lot of people started with him, man.
Okay.
And it was like a 16 CD set or whatever it was. So I listened to it in my car one time and thought that I was a real estate god. I'm the world's best, man. Let's go out and buy these houses and we're going to rule the world. So he was like, yeah, man, real estate, that's the answer, So we just went out, and back then it was like so easy to get loans, it was like super easy to qualify. So we had a wholesaler that we didn't even know was a wholesaler at the time. He was like bringing us deal after deal, but he was buying them on the courthouse for nothing back then.
Oh,
and he was making like $30,000-$40,000 off these houses, these
every time
houses.
Too.
Yeah, he was buying these houses for like $8,000, selling to us for 40.
Yeah,
we didn't know. So he was wholesaling us houses. And back then it was just bank loans. We go to the bank, we get these either investor loans or bank loan houses. I didn't do any own finance, and I didn't know any subject to nothing creative. Right. And then so we ended up getting these loans from the bank and just had normal mortgages. And I think I had 7 of them. And then it was, they always say there's no such thing as a bad tenant, but there's a bad landlord. And I didn't know. So I just the first person to come along, I'd be like, yep, you got the house, man, move in. I want to qualify them. Yeah, they had the money to put down, get in the house. Okay, no problem. And of course, the internet was nothing like it is now, so you couldn't do
Right.
searches. And I didn't know. We didn't know how to learn back then, or other than that 16
It was
CD set
hard.
that I listened to.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it's
hard to get that
definitely a different
information.
game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So first person to come along, I threw him in the house. Well, that's the wrong answer. So I had people not paying. I mean, I had some nightmare stories. I had one lady came in on a Wednesday. She's like, okay, well, I get paid on Friday. Let me move in. I'll bring the deposit Friday. I'll bring the first month rent Friday. And I think the house was only renting for like $600 back then.
Back then,
so I was like, yeah. I was like, okay, no problem. Move on in. So she moved in on Wednesday. Bro, 6 months later, I could not try to get a hold of her, call her, go to the house, knock on the door. She was like a professional squatter. So she never gave me a penny.
My goodness. So just real quick though, how much landlording do you do now? Oh, do you do a lot of it now, or
no? Now it's like I do a lot of lease options, so it's basically hands off.
Creative guys. And hold on a second though on that. You get monthly passive income now, and you're not a landlord, right?
Right. Yep.
Dude,
exactly.
That's not possible, is it?
No, not just just in Jacksonville, Florida, nowhere else. Though.
You're right. Like you're getting monthly passive income, but you're not a landlord. You're not responsible for maintenance and repairs, right?
Right. Well, to a point. If I have a regular renter in there, they're working to move up the ladder, so they want to move up to the next level
to be able to buy
to own.
Yeah.
So what I did is I quit really doing regular renters. I just come in at rent to own, lease option. Or owner financing off the bat, and they'll come in with $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 down, and then they're working to buy the house.
Okay.
So it's crazy that because they'll come in and it's like, oh, okay, well, like I had one lady, they had hardwood floors, like real hardwood floors, and she's like, would you mind if we sand these down and restain them and do all this too? I was like, no, go ahead. And they did the whole house,
fix it up for me.
Yeah, then they put new carpet in the house.
Oh
they
my
put,
goodness, dude.
They painted the whole inside of the house. I mean, like, what kind of tenants would ever do that?
Right, and they're making monthly payments to you. But hold on one second though. Just tell me, in 2 words each description, real quick, man. What was it like back then in the 90s? In 2 words, and then what is it like now when you're using creative financing and subject to?
Yeah, in one word, back in the 90s, it was miserable.
Okay.
And now. I don't want to use the opposite word, almost easy, but I would say, there's more systems in place now. So I'd say it's a lot less stress now.
I said glorious, man.
Glorious. Yeah.
It's glorious, man.
Glorious. Yeah.
How are you acquiring these properties though, real quick? The ones today. You're not borrowing money from a bank, right? You're not beholden to the bank. Your credit at risk. What are you doing today?
Yeah, so right now I do a lot of subject twos where I'll take the loans over. Well, I can't really say I take the loan over. I basically just make the payments.
Yep,
so
that's it.
Deed the house to me, to my trust. So I deed the house to my trust, and then I turn around and basically just pay on their loan. So the loan stays in their name. It doesn't come on my credit. I don't need any kind of bank loans. I always tell people you could be dead broke, just got out of jail, and do this. No money.
Yeah.
You don't need credit, nothing.
None.
So you just basically, okay, I'll just pay on your loan.
Dude, you just described me, man. Honestly, I went to jail for weed, man. That's a well-known fact, man. I'm a prisoner. I'm a prisoner of the war on drugs. I'm a refugee, man.
Refugee.
Yeah, seriously, dude. I was like, man, but I made bad choices. Best thing that ever happened to me. I actually learned about real estate, the traditional real estate in there, man, because I needed to come out and be the better man that I am, And I found this strategy. And it changed everything for me, man, because I don't have to go ask the bank permission or qualify, fill out credit applications. I just have to be the solution to somebody's problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's all it is.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah. And they'll let you do anything with the house. Doesn't even matter, really. You're solving their problem.
Yeah, that's it. Just be a problem solver. That's all you need to be.
Yeah. So, man, real quick, though, I'm like, how old are you, man?
46.
Oh, you're 46? Damn, I need some of that Florida sun, man. I'm in Iowa. Shit, man, you look younger than me, man.
Yeah, I get that a lot, but
I get that a lot, man. No offense, man. You're the first white dude that's I said that about, man. So I got to get some of that Florida sun. I'll be down with you, man, getting some houses, chilling.
Yeah.
So Darren, man, what just kind of what made you make that switch and then get back into real estate right after you had a nightmare in the 90s? And those houses, those 7 houses that you had, you said you got foreclosed on?
Oh, every one of them. I literally one day just said, screw this. I don't care. I'm walking away from it. And I just stopped paying on them.
Oh my God.
I got all these foreclosures. I I didn't know how to get out of it. You know,
Yep,
it's just
exactly.
they quit paying. It was just so frustrating. I was, ready to jump off a bridge. I don't think I jump off a bridge, but
Right, but you're ready. No, I get it. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure, dude. You
yeah,
were a tired landlord. You were what we
tired.
call a tired landlord.
Hey, I
And
would have
that
gave
would
somebody
have
all those
been,
houses.
yeah, that would have been a gold mine, man. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
goodness. But somebody would have had to find you.
yep.
That's the difference, guys. See, just real quick, see that small, subtle point right there. People don't look at small details. Darren just said that in the 90s, when he had to get bank loans, he walked away from 7 houses, guys, and they went into foreclosure. But he didn't know any better. And then most landlords out here don't either. All right. So that meant somebody would have had to find Darren. So are
Yep,
you going to go out there and are you going to get to it? Like, are you going to find Darren? Or are you going to sit on your hands? That's what's out there waiting for us, guys. So anyway, my bad, man. I had to point that out.
yeah, you're right.
Dude. So, man, you walked away from him. What'd
Yeah.
you do, man? You went and did your thing. What'd you do in the in between?
Yeah, so I walked away from them, crushed my credit. Obviously, I had 7 bank loans at the time, so that crushed my credit.
Mhm.
And then I knew though, like, my old business partner kept telling me, and back then we knew just, most millionaires are created through real estate, and
It's the
we
stone
knew
foundation. Mhm.
real estate's the number one millionaire creator.
Yep.
And we were like, I kept thinking in the back of my head, I got to get back into real estate. I got to get back. I don't know how. Actually, my theory was back then is I'm going to save my money, and once I get enough cash, I'm going to buy a house cash, and I'll have no mortgage. So if somebody's in there messing the house up or not paying the rent, it wouldn't really matter because I could still pay the taxes and insurance on it, if they didn't pay, which is still a stupid theory, really.
Yeah, it is. But that is, you are not alone, man. That's not a Darren theory, though. That's
no.
a majority of people who want to get into real estate. I hear 2 things, man. I don't have enough money or good credit, and then I don't know what to do, how to start. But like people have that urge, so they go be realtors. But that's not even, you're not even really doing real estate.
It's not an investment.
Yeah, it's not, man. You're doing a deal. But so anyway, you had that voice in the back of your head. I love it, dude. That's that entrepreneur whisper too.
Yeah. So I knew I had to, I kept thinking to myself, I need to be in real estate. I know it's like the answer. I didn't really know. I said, I'm just going to save my money. And, when I get enough money, I'm going to pay cash. I'm going to pay cash for a house. So I ended up, so let's say it's probably 2001 when I lost all the houses. And then I started building my business up. I got married. And then the crash of 07, 08, whatever you want to say, happened. So my business went backwards. I lost probably 97% of my income. I was at a building phase at that point. Yeah. And then about 2016, I finally had saved up enough money for a house, and I was like, what?
I got to interrupt you again, man. I am so sorry too. My apologies. But this shit is dope, dude. This is really dope right now. Can I just ask you a quick kind of personal question? Are you at your house right now?
Yeah.
Dude, to the viewers, guys. One, we're going to answer questions in the second half of the show. So drop some flames in the comments. Tell Darren what you think of his story so far. And if you guys think you're getting some value, hey, hit that like button. All right. But Darren, what in the hell? Because I've got people, man, that are scared to even start this, and they've never done anything entrepreneurial before in their lives. They just work jobs. You just said, man, that you walked away from 7 houses, went into foreclosure, and then you went and did some stuff with other businesses and then lost some of that. What inside of you made you keep getting up, man?
Well, I've always had my car audio business, and that's been a trade, so of course, so I've kept that throughout the years, and I got up to, I had 9 employees at one time. And then when the economy crashed back in 07, 08, it was literally like a light switch for us. I live in Jacksonville. Well, actually, I lived at the time in Fruit Cove, Florida, which is just outside Jacksonville. And it was it was one of the top 10 areas in the entire nation. It said Fruit Cove, Florida, which nobody's ever heard of. It's a tiny thing, the number top 10 of most affected places by the economy. And I was like, that's crazy. So it was literally like we were just booming out of control. And overnight, it was like somebody flipped the switch. We were so busy. And it was like overnight, just no business. So like all my employees were on commission, and they're like, "Oh, your business sucks. We're leaving. And I'm like, "It's the economy. You guys aren't seeing what's going on with these banks online. They're all crashing and watching the news." And they're like, "No, it's your business." I'm like, "Dude, we've been so busy for so long, it just stopped." So they, I hate firing people because I feel like I'm kind of responsible for their income. If they're working for me, I don't want to lay them off. So I don't want to say fortunately for me, but most of them quit. One guy didn't quit, and he stayed with me for a little while, but he had got a second job, so he was doing fine. And then finally I just said, you know what, I'm going to go back to being mobile. I let my shop, well, my lease ran out right at the same time. So I kind of guess I was fortunate. So the lease ran out. I went back to just being mobile by myself, which I was still making okay money.
Yeah.
It was nothing like it was, of course. You know? And then I ended up going through a divorce. I had bought like a $600,000 house, and I ended up
the American dream.
Living the dream. I had a brand new Mercedes S550. I had a Mercedes CLS. My wife had a Mercedes GLK.
Damn,
dude.
We
were doing good.
Yeah, if they had money guns back then, you might have shot a couple in the air.
yeah, I probably would have thrown some dollars, So so then the economy crashed, and I lost all that stuff, man. They repoed my car.
Yeah.
We had to turn her car in, downgrade it. They foreclosed on our house. Just the economy just brutal. I mean, I lost like 90% of my income. It's crazy.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah. So I went through that, kept doing my car stereo, my tint and all that. And I got a little bit, in 2012, I ended up, probably 2010. I ended up going in with a guy. He had a used tire shop. So I just was doing tint and stereo out of that.
Yeah.
And then started growing that and getting some employees back and growing. Yep. And of course, I always kept care of everybody and did everybody right. So I had some of my employees come back.
Yep.
And then I grew, and then I moved in 2012 to Atlantic Boulevard, which is the main boulevard, one of the big roads, 6-lane road in Jacksonville here, right on the main drag. So I've been there since 2012 and just grew that.
Okay. And so then, you're killing it, man.
Yeah. That's been going well. And then I branched out and started the tint school probably 6 years ago.
Well, weren't you but you still had that itch for real estate, right? And then you were weren't you like going around the country too, like learning from gurus and experts?
Yep. So in 2016, that's when I had saved enough money to buy a house cash, and I was like, all right, cool, man. I got a house. I could buy enough house cash, buy a house cash. I want to take some real estate. So I looked into some stuff and landed Ron LeGrand.
Hold on one second, man. I'm sorry. There's some more viewers on here, man. So guys, my name's Gene Boykin. I'm the founder of the GoGetter Family. All right. This is Darren Fettik out of Jacksonville, Florida, man. Killing the game, dude. I hated to cut the conversation off there, but I want you guys to know what you're watching. All right. So hit that like button, guys. I'm telling you, you're going to get some game tonight about a real estate investing strategy that will change everything for you. Everything, man. You see, hey, man, you all look, Darren don't look like he's doing too bad when you look at that background. That's why I asked if it was his house, man. But he's been in foreclosure, got back up, went out in business again, man. And then he's back up, guys. That's the whole thing. Obstacles, the kryptonite to obstacles is persistence. If you just won't stop, dude, you're gonna find it. It will find you. I was talking to a student today, man. She wasn't a student at the time, she is now, and it will find you. You don't have to look for it. So my bad, man. It was what, 05? You said you're flying around the country looking for these gurus?
No, it's in 16. So in 16, I had I saved enough money to buy a house cash, and I was like, okay, I'm getting a real estate, but I'm gonna take some classes.
Okay.
So in Jacksonville, Ron LeGrand's here, and he's like, he's been doing real estate forever. So he actually lived like a quarter mile from my house.
No shit.
Which is crazy. Yeah, so it's crazy. Nice. So I was online in a group, and somebody said something about they wanted to learn in They're from Jacksonville, and they're like, "Oh, the king of real estate, Ron LeGrand's in Jacksonville. Why don't you take his classes?" I was like, "Ron LeGrand, who's that?" So I looked him up and started taking his classes. And of course, a lot of the gurus, it's you take one class, and it's like, "Oh, but you got to know this, and it's in this class, and you got to take that class, and oh, by the way, you got to know this, and it's in another class." And you really do need to learn it all. So I'm not saying
because there is a lot to it, man. It's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah. It's simple. Say. Once you learn it, once I learned it, it's like second, no problem. It's common sense to go do it,
Boom. And then you've got the technical aspect with the contracts, man. But tell me about that journey of learning though, man. So Ron LeGrand, for those that don't know, the viewers, Ron's a legend too, guys. I mean, he is in my world, in our world, really. But you really learn from the wizard himself.
Yeah.
So you're with Ron and
so I was with Ron. I took a lot of his classes, and then there's another group that he has, the Wolf Couple. I went off with them and did their stuff for a while.
Okay. Yep. I've heard of them.
Yep. So they basically do a little bit different stuff, but they're tied together with him sort of. So they kind of teach the same way. And then we did that. And then I learned a lot from him. I definitely learned a lot.
Did you try that? Did you try their strategy though? And go out and buy
it didn't. Yeah. Their strategy of getting the houses didn't really work too great. And
Really?
that's where I was at. Yeah. So I learned a lot. Don't get me wrong. I learned all
Yeah.
the lease options. I learned like the base of real estate from them. So
Okay. Yeah, for
um,
sure. The fundamentals, some
but
fundamental stuff.
the fun, yeah, tons of fundamentals. But the actual way that to go get the houses, it was more or less just call people on the phone, get the leads, call them on the phone, just offer them lowball numbers, and then somebody sooner or later is going to take your lowball number and get their house.
Burn and turn, man. No, we like quality, man. No competition.
Yeah.
Too, for
Yeah.
sure.
So then I was like, so I flew all over the place, and I probably spent $250,000 taking classes.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, man. I gotta pause. I gotta hit the pause button, man, because you learn real estate now. Now that $250,000 though has paid exponentially at this point, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Over and over. I'm not gonna get into specifics, but you're not doing bad. 27 houses in 2 years, guys. 27 cash flowing properties. But people do spend a lot of money nowadays, but then there's people that don't want to spend 10 or 5 or even 3 to invest in that knowledge. And some people see the cost of things, and then other people see the value of that information, that knowledge. I feel like you're one of the people that see the value.
Yeah. And I think once you take a class and you see the value and see what it brings to you, because I was hesitant, you hear about these real estate things like, oh, is it going to work? Are they going to take my money? Are they going to scam me? I hear that all the time.
True.
And of course, there's people that don't teach as good. So finding a quality teacher is one thing.
Yeah.
But like I see all the time in these forums and these real estate groups and stuff that I'm in, they're like, oh, you don't need a teacher. You don't need a mentor. Just go on YouTube and watch YouTube and Google stuff. And it's like, no, you're not going to get what you need. Like the stuff that I've learned is nowhere online.
No
the contracts they give you. It's, a lot of people are like, oh, just go to Office Max and get a contract off the shelf. No.
Nuts.
No way.
Yeah, dude. Right. Exactly, man. But did you know the statistic, right, on real estate investors? 95% fail.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
it is, dude. When I heard it the first time, a heavy hitter told me that, so I was like surprised. I went and checked it afterwards after that conversation, and 95%, man. That's one of the main.
Yeah, I failed the first time, so maybe I'm a stat.
You did. You are, man. You are, but you're on both sides of the curve, man. That's kind of dope. You know what I mean?
Got back in there. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Back up in it and standing tall, man. Killing the game. So you man, you learn. Lou Brown's strategy. Lou Brown's the man. I first saw Lou Brown on one of my other mentors' YouTube channels. My other mentor is Chris Haskins, and he's the one who introduced me to Subject to creative financing. When I first heard about it, man, I was doing traditional fix and flips for about 3 years, and I only did 3 flips in 3 years. But I had a partner. My partner's my best friend, man, my brother growing up, and he's a doctor. He's a doctor, so I mean, good credit, stuff like that. Well, the banks were still giving us a hard time, dude. And I found this strategy. We had got denied for another loan. We lost a short sale. We were trying to do a short sale, man, and the bank, man, was just dragging their feet. That was financing us. And I lost my job at the same time. So I'm telling my friend, I'm like, dude, there's got to be a way, man. It's real estate, right? That's what I'm thinking, kind of the same lines as you, man. It's real estate, dude. There is a way. There are people doing these things. And I know for a fact there's people that don't have much money. So I'm looking at hard money lenders, and I'm like, dude, you got to jump through some hoops for the hard money lenders.
Even with hard money lenders. And then the interest rates are outrageous. So I don't want to pay that.
Right. Like, how can you, man? It's like you're working for below minimum wage. So then I'm on YouTube University, and I was introduced to it. I saw Chris Haskins, man. He said Subject to. He's been buying properties ever since 2007 without filling out credit applications, qualifying for debt. But he said he learned the strategy about 7 years before that. And he was like, oh, no, I'll use that when I get a couple houses. And he's like, I'm kicking myself in the ass now for those 7 years that I missed out. You know what I mean? And it's been to the moon for me ever since too.
Yeah. And another a thing that a lot of people I heard when I learned Subject to, I didn't hear this, but if I would have heard it, it might have slowed me down. But when a lot of people talk about Subject to, it's only good for people who have like no equity or who are upside down on their houses, not people with equity.
That's not.
And true. I didn't know that. It's not true. But I never heard that. So I was going out creating these deals with $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 in equity, and then taking them over Subject to.
Yeah.
And then getting them. And then I hear people like, oh, Subject to is only good if they're upside down or they can't cover closing costs or if they owe too much. That's the only time you can do Subject to. And I'm like, well, I've been doing it left and right and getting boatloads of equity.
Boatloads, dude. We got a house right now, man. So That's crazy. I'm not even doing the work either, but that's creative finance. So you're saying like $60,000-$70,000 equity. How much money are you spending to acquire these properties that got this 60,000-70,000?
Like marketing wise, like what am I
Yeah.
spending on marketing?
Well, just
It
total, like, what would you say? Like, because me personally, the 6 houses I own, I've never came out of my pocket and said, this is for your house.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
spent,
So
money marketing, things like
like at
that.
closing, yeah. So at closing, I pay the closing costs, and one thing I
Mhm.
make sure that I do, which you don't have to, but I'd probably recommend is getting like a title policy.
Yeah.
So
Title
that's a
insurance.
decent chunk. So typically when I go to the lawyer and pay them all their fees and pay everything, it's like $3,000 to $3,500.
Yeah.
For the title policies and
Okay.
everything.
What about the
But
homeowner?
the homeowner, it depends. It depends on how much equity they have. It's what they want. I ask them what they want. I don't
Mhm.
ever bring up anything first. Like if I'm trying to get owner financing, I don't bring up interest. I don't bring a payment plan. I don't bring up, anything. I let them tell me what they want. So like I've got a couple deals that were 0% interest.
Right.
So like I took it to the lawyer and I was like, here you go. This guy's selling me 2 houses, and he's looking at it and he's like, okay, it says you're going to pay him $1,000 a month, and it says you're going to pay him for so many months. He's like, what's the interest rate? And I'm like, 0.
There is
He's
none.
like,
Yeah.
well, what do you mean 0? You can't get a loan at 0%. And I'm like, yes, you can. I just did. I said, we're on this contract. Does it say anything about interest?
Right.
He's like, it
Read the
doesn't.
contract. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, here's how much you owe, and I want this much per month, and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And I was like, all right,
All principal payments.
yeah, it's amazing. I'm paying the house off in 6 years and 9 months versus 30 years. I mean,
Oh my
it's
God, dude.
boatloads of interest saved.
And the lawyer, not only we're not even talking about the transaction, we're just talking about the no interest owner financing that you got by solving a problem, by letting them talk, right? Letting them asking some questions and letting them talk. But the lawyer was perplexed about the zero interest loan, let alone the transaction. How was that? How has that been for you? Because you got 27 houses in 2 years, right? How has dealing with other real estate professionals, getting a lawyer, realtors, title companies, how has that been for you, man?
They've actually been baffled by the stuff I've been doing. It's crazy because like
Yes.
that lawyer there, he's like 0%. What? How do you get? He's like, I want to know how to do that. And then I had another. I probably used maybe 8 or 9 different lawyers to close deals. And
Okay.
one of them was like, "What subject to?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do these subject to." And I brought like 3 or 4 to them. They're like, how do you keep getting these people to leave these loans in their names? Like, how are you doing it? And I feel like, man, I'm teaching a lawyer something,
Yeah,
It's
really.
crazy though. But yeah,
You
a lot of
are.
them, they're like, oh man, you're doing good. You got okay, I got another house. And like, how did you get this deal? Like, I looked this house up and it's like worth this much and you got it for this much. How do you do that?
So
I'm
let
like,
me ask
oh,
you a
you want me to
question real
teach you?
quick. Yeah, right. They just don't understand, man. It's not about the money all the time with these people, man. We have to ask them, what is going on? Like why are you selling this house, right? How has it been dealing with your lender up to this point? Especially if they're distressed, if they're in foreclosure. I love them right before. I'm a foreclosure expert, dude. I get houses right before the auction, man, literally. And then I get them for free, man. Before you get a forbearance or something, man. I got a house now we're working on. This all over my IG, dude. 18 months, no mortgage payments on it. 18 months, man. Forbearance, but I helped that homeowner out, man. He's still texting me, man, and thanking me. He testimonial on my website. But initially to get these attorneys, what are you just bringing them the contracts, or are you asking them to do a subject to? What are you doing?
Yeah, the subject to. So in Jacksonville, I'm in a couple groups, Jacksonville specific real estate groups. And I just, a lot of them, I'll say, hey, who does subject to, who does it? And then you get to know them, or you find other investors I found that do subject to and ask them who they use. So it's just networking, finding out who it is. Because if the lawyer doesn't know how to do subject to, they're going to be lost.
Yeah. They should just be able to walk you through the paperwork. So I had I bought a house. I bought this creative financing. I bought a contract for deed, but I took over his loan, right? I just bought it on contract. Different type of transaction, guys. There's about 38 different ways you can do this. Lou says there's 37, man. I throw one on there, 38. But anyhow, on all of my deals, I signed a memorandum of contract. So this is what blew me away, man, down there when I met you in Orlando. That's why I was so blown away by your story, was because of what happened to me just before that. So I buy a house by taking over the existing debt. This house wasn't in foreclosure or anything, man. This guy was a farmer. He had bought this house for his girlfriend, and he lived out of town. She wanted to move out. He didn't want to fiddle with it. He tried to list it with a realtor. It was a failed listing. So my realtor called me. I was like, hey, I think you might be able to do something with this. So anyway, get the house, I do a memorandum, obviously record it. And now I own the house though, and I'm making monthly payments, and then I'm getting my monthly payments from my buyer. Well, my buyer refinances, consolidates their debt because he's an investor himself. So he owns a few rentals. And the bank, dude, you know, they're closing now. They're closing this deal because he's buying it from me on contract. So they're closing, and the banker calls me and she's like, well, why are you on the deed? I'm like, I'm not on the deed. I'm on public record buying it on contract. I'm not on the deed. I said, but we did file a memorandum of contract. So she's like, okay. She gets back to the lawyer, and then the lawyer emails her and said that I had to quit claim deed that property back to the original owner so that they could pay it off. And I was like, oh my God, I have that much control of this house. And I never went into a bank and applied for credit. I never qualified for debt, any of that stuff. And that blew me away with that memorandum because they weren't familiar with it, but they had to research it because they were closing, you know, and it was for a bank. So, didn't you have a situation with that deal insurance, man? That's what a memorandum is. Let me just explain a memorandum real quick, guys. When you go to buy a house and the seller agrees with you, like, hey, okay, you can buy my house by taking over this $100,000 debt and give me, you know, $5,000 out of my equity. And you're okay, we close in 30 days. You're gone, you're doing your thing, setting stuff up. Well, another investor comes to them, offers them a little bit more money. And now they stop answering your phone calls, stop answering your text messages. They don't come to closing, but you cross your T's and you dot your I's. And with this memorandum of contract, it's just, you know, really a one-page document. Get it signed, notarized, record it, and that's your deal insurance. So when that happens, what happens is now, whenever they try to sell it in the future, they got to go through you now. You have clouded that title. You've clouded that title, man. So when the title company looks it up, they're going to see your name on there. Your name's going to come up. So they give you a call like, hey, we're trying to, you know, close on this deal. Will you release this property? So Darren has a crazy story, man, and is just the living proof of how powerful your contracts are, your paperwork, and just having this knowledge and having a mentor, man. I want you to tell like why you like when you're done, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I ran across a deal up in Georgia. So let me back up before I tell the story. The first thing you need to do when you get a contract on the house, the same second you need to get that memorandum and drive it right down to the courthouse and file it. Because if you wait and another investor comes, and even though they got the contract after you and they file it first, whoever files that piece of paper first is first in line. So the second I get the contract, I'll drive. If it's close, most of the time I'll mail it because it's only a day. But I'll mail it right off to the courthouse. You could drive it right down. The last one I drove down.
I drive. I go down there.
Yeah. And you file it because if you file it first, you're in line first. So if they do, then even though you got the contract first, you're not. So I ended up, that one I drove down there. So it was in Georgia. So I went right out to the truck and had it printed out. And I printed it right out and drove it right down there right after I signed the deal. So it was like the first thing I did. And you can't wait. So anyway, so I got this contract up in Georgia. The house is worth about, at the time, it was worth about 155,000.
Okay.
I got them down to 105. So she signed the contract for 105.
Were you going to take over some debt? Were you going to take over some debt on this one?
No, this one I was paying cash for. She owned it outright, and she didn't want to owner finance it.
Okay, but you had the cash by this time anyway, so you're like 105. Cool.
Yeah. So I was going to pay cash for it. And then, which I'll get into the cash because a lot of people are like, hey, leverage, real estate's all about leverage. Don't ever pay cash for it. But I'm going to explain something about that too that might open your eyes to it.
Okay, please do.
So anyway, so I went ahead and I filed that memorandum, started talking to people. About 2 weeks into it, she calls me up and she's like, hey, I don't want to sell this house anymore. And it's cool. If you don't want to sell the house, you want to live there, I'm fine with that. Okay, no problem. But if she wants to go behind my back, if somebody offered her 110,000, that's a problem to me because she's going behind my back.
Yep.
So I ended up, So I was like, okay, no problem, blah, blah, blah. Well, then it's probably about 2-3 months later, maybe out the blue, I get this call from a lawyer because on the memorandum, you put your email, you put your phone number, you put your name. If there's any questions about this, call me at this, whatever. You put it on there.
Yes.
So I get this phone call.
Find me. Yeah, it's not going to be hard to find me.
Yeah, this is how you find me. Here's all my information. Here's my mailing address, whatever. Use a P.O. box.
I love it, dude.
And so I get this call, and the guy's like, hey, I'm an attorney. I'm closing this deal on blah, blah, blah. And I see you have this affidavit of purchase agreement, memorandum of purchase agreement. He's like, what are your plans with that? And I'm like, well, my plans are to buy the house, but she said she wasn't going to sell it. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we can't close on it. I'm like, wow, what's going on? And she's like, well, she ended up listing it with a realtor, and the realtor ended up selling it for $155,000.
Oh.
And we're closing in 2 days. Actually, let me back that up. It was Friday when he called me, and he said they're closing Wednesday. They're supposed to be closing Wednesday. The bank loan for the lady already got approved. This has been 3 months later.
Right. So let me slow you down real quick though, because when this happened, she went to the realtor, listed it. So now these people have agreed. The realtor, they did the transaction, and the other side, the buyers, they're making their plans, guys.
They
They
literally moved out of their house. They put everything in storage to move into this house.
Oh my goodness.
They had put everything in storage. They were living in one of them weekly hotel things, just waiting to close to move into their new house.
Yeah.
So they're ready in place to go. And this pops up. And I'm like, hey, I was like, I want to buy the house. She's reneging on her contract.
Right.
And, I want this house still.
She already, so for the viewers, she signed a contract with you and agreed to say, hey, yeah, okay, I will sell you my house for $105,000 cash. And let's sign this contract. The contract was notarized, I'm going to presume.
Yeah. No, you don't need it. I didn't need to get it notarized.
I always notarize everything, but that's just
that one didn't need to be notarized.
Okay. Okay.
So I just basically went down there and filed it, one piece of paper, filed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he called me up and he's like, okay, well, let me talk to the realtor and see what we can do, blah, blah, blah. So they call the realtor, call the lawyer back. Lawyer calls me back, and he's like, well, they just want to offer you some money. What would you take?
Because they can't do shit, dude.
They can't do nothing.
They have to talk to you.
Yeah, they have to. So they're like, and I was like, well, there's a lot of equity in this house. I said, plus I'm going to do rent to own. I'm going to get money down. I'm going to rent it out long. I'm paying cash, so I can rent it out for probably $1,500 a month. I'm going to cash flow. I'm going to make a boatload of money on this house, probably $80,000 over 2 years.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm like, I don't know. So I was like, they told me the story about the lady living in the apartment thing, or the, rent the weekly hotel, and she had all her stuff in storage. So I kind of felt for her because she already had sold her house. And she was like in limbo.
Didn't have anything to do with the deception that the seller tried to run on you.
Right. No, there's nothing on me. The seller was deceiving me, really.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the seller was deceiving you. And I'm going to presume that the seller didn't tell that side that she had signed a contract with anybody else.
No, they had no clue. They had
none
no clue
whatsoever. So she was just
the realtor didn't know. Yeah, they did, and she probably just figured, whatever, who cares? I'll list it with the realtor, So
integrity though. Integrity.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So they call me back and like, well, what do you want? How much money do you want? And I thought about it. And I was like, I'm not really, I got the contract, which is definitely some work. And I was like, I want $20,000. And
how many hours did you put in to get that contract signed up to this point? How many hours you got in on this deal?
An hour, maybe an hour.
Ooh, and that's marketing. Did it come to you? Did it come to you?
Yeah. I had a friend that had it. So he was like, hey, man, this lady wants to sell her house, blah, blah, blah. He lived near her. I was like, okay. So I went over there and talked to her. And then, it was probably the most of the time was driving, because it's probably a 40-minute drive up to Georgia. It was in Georgia.
Okay.
And so it was up there. And then I ended up telling him I wanted $20,000. And like, okay, well, we'll think about it. We'll think about it. And then I started thinking about it. And I'm like, man, I'll make $80,000 on this in the first 2 years, easy. And then I'm going to get, paying cash for this house. I'm still going to keep cash flowing. And then the property values are going to go up. I'm thinking, I'm like, man, $20,000 is not enough.
Now you're crunching all the numbers, dude. And there are so many ways to profit off a property, guys, by becoming the damn bank. Now it's stewing on you, man. And you seem like a numbers kind of guy to me, man.
Oh yeah, I went to college for math. I was rated number 1 in my school. I got math awards. So
get the fuck. Yeah, oh my god, I didn't even know that. Yeah, so it's like nonstop, dude. You're like, I love. I was
going to be an actuary, which they crunch numbers all day. So
what the fuck? Wait, hold on a second. What is an actuary?
All right, they work for insurance companies, and they basically do risks. So they just sit in the office crunching numbers all day. And I was like, I don't want to sit in the office crunching numbers all day.
So this is like preschool to you then? These numbers.
Really? Oh yeah, all these amortization schedules, all that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So so I started thinking about it. When they called me back, I said, hey, I changed my mind. I want $30,000. And they're like, the lawyer's like, well, they're going to accept it. And let me call them back. So they called back. I said, okay, we'll give you $30,000. So I was like, okay. So she said, well, the lawyer said the same thing like what you just said. They're going to have to you're going to have to sign a quit claim deed, which, guys, if you're there's different deeds, right? There's warranty
Yes.
deeds, special warranty deeds, quick claim deeds. A quick claim deed, all that means is if I have any interest in the house, I no longer have that interest. I'm giving it to you.
Right.
So let's say you meet somebody and they have a house and they're fraudulent, right? Maybe it's a vacant house and somebody just meets you over there and they don't really own it, and they sign a quick claim deed. I could give you right now a quick claim deed to the Empire State Building, because it's just saying, if I have any interest in that property, it now belongs to you.
That's why quick claim is like the lowest form of a deed.
Of a deed. Yeah. So I mean, you could probably do some research and say, okay, this, Joe Blow owns the house, and let me see your ID. Okay, you're Joe Blow. Okay, cool. That means something. Yeah. But you never know,
They're hard to disprove too, though. But quick claim deeds, you can just do them yourself too.
Yeah. You could do a quick claim deed, just deed it over, Yeah. So, so basically, they came down and they said, okay, sign this quick claim deed. And it was through the lawyer. So I was like, I'm not going to get jerked around, because now this is going through the lawyer. And they said, okay, we'll cut you a check. And they closed. And I went over there, got a $30,000 check. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, dude, I didn't even buy the house and got 30.
Yeah, you didn't even spend any money, man. Any money. But you spent your time, your effort, your knowledge. God, this knowledge, guys, is fucking priceless, man. Priceless. It really is. If you are going to take it and you are going to do something with it, but also if you're going to weather the storm, right? Because I mean, I don't know, you're successful, man, serial entrepreneur. I feel like when we're on to something as an entrepreneur, even in life, man, in general, when we're on to something, it's like the universe, man, and God test us with this adversity to see if we do really want that. Do you really want it? Are you committed? So if you can make it through that last bit of adversity, then the floodgates open. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, I went through it. Now that I think about it, talking to you, I lost all those houses back in the day. I went through the crash of 08, lost my house, lost my cars, I stayed at it, and really it just puts me in a better position, because when in 07, 08, I was a spender, man. I just, every dime I made a lot of money, but I would just spend. And then when it slowed down, it was like, hey man, I need to save. I saved and I did stuff in life. Now I'm in a really good position. So, we talked about paying cash for the house. So, you hear a lot of people, leverage, real estate's all about leverage, try to put no money down, little money down, which is good. Right. But you could be over leveraged. So, you could say, hey, I'm only going to put 3% down, 3.5% down. I'm going to get these FHA loans. And you try to get so many of these loans with just putting a little money down. Well, then all of a sudden your payments are a lot higher and you're not cash flowing a lot. And then if you have a little hiccup, maybe a roof goes out or something happens to where you got to pay a bunch of money, you don't have that money.
Right.
So you've ran into these landlords that they don't want to fix up houses. It's because they don't have the money to do it. Maybe they're working a normal job. They over leverage the house. They're making $100, $200 a month, and boom, they need an $8,000 roof, and they don't have the money to fix it.
Real quick, for the people that don't know much about real estate that are watching, over leverage simply means that you have too much debt on that house. So your mortgage that you owe the bank for your investment property or the house that you live in, you owe them a lot on that mortgage, the principal sum, and sometimes it's even more than the house is worth. So they say you're over leveraged, but that to me is nearly impossible to do when you become the bank and you use subject to and creative financing, because we are not personally guaranteeing that debt. We're not qualifying for that debt. It's not going against our debt to income ratio. It's not going against our debt to income ratio, any of that stuff. So it's a different game, man. It's a different game when you play it the right way.
Yep. So then, and the other leverage too is your cash flow. If you have a house, you're paying $1,300 a month, and the rents are $1,400 a month, and you're only cash flowing $100. All of a sudden, AC goes out, and it's $2,000 to fix the AC. Hey, that wipes out 20 months of your profit.
Right.
So when you get into, you could get yourself leveraged good and get some houses going. But like when I pay cash for a house or a couple houses here and there, now all of a sudden I have $1,500 a month just straight coming into me. And that helps out. So like right now I have a roof, and when I bought the house 2 years ago, I knew it needed a new roof, and I've just been winging it. I've been like, okay, sooner or later it's going to start leaking. So of course it started leaking, and I called the guy yesterday, and he's like, it's $10,000. I'm like, all right, we'll go ahead and do it.
That's Florida though.
Yeah. So I'm like, and it's not that big of a house, but the house, man, I paid $58,000 for this house, and now it's worth like $240,000.
Oh my
2 years ago.
dude, look at that,
Yeah, it's
man. That's
crazy.
exponential, man. Oh my
Yeah.
god, man. Yeah. So with that though, with what I'm doing right now, man, I partnered with because I don't like to do fix and flips. I know all the hazards, you know what I mean? But and
Mhm.
I'm not borrowing money from the bank, but I still don't like to babysit contractors, stuff like that. So I've got a guy, he's an investor. He owns a painting business here in my city, and he had bought one of my houses from me creatively. This house was going to auction in 6 days. I don't like to spend my money. I told you I have never, since I've learned this strategy, said, here, this is for your house. Anything,
Yeah.
man, literally, dude. So he this house was going to auction in 6 days, and I had reached out to the lady like 7 months before. So she gets back a hold of me, and long story short, bought it on contract real quick. Wasn't enough time to close it subject to. So I used his down payment. He gave me $30,000 down payment, reinstated the loan. It was 15,700 something to reinstate the mortgage. I just used
Yeah.
the 15.7 out of that 30. I had an agreement with him, man. So long story short, I partnered with him on another house though that I have
Okay.
that's in foreclosure, and he's doing the fix. This house is in a beautiful neighborhood. They call it God's country where I'm from. So it's being fixed complete, pretty much rehab. There's squatters in it, man, but great neighborhood. And I haven't spent a dollar, dude. I did spend 2,300 though to 6 trailers of trash to the dump, my crew. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't like for
That's
the
nothing.
house, like here,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
all that said, guys, again, my name's Gene Boykin. I'm the founder of the GoGetter Family. This is Darren Fettik. He is the owner of Coast to Coast Properties, right?
Yep.
And a
Mhm.
serial entrepreneur, man. Does car wraps that are out of this world too. I saw some of your work, man. I was like, all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
Darren's
Yeah.
doing this thing, man. So if
Yeah.
you guys have any questions about subject to about creative finance, put them in the comments. We're gonna start answering some questions for you guys in a few minutes. And guys, in my Facebook group, real quick, in my Facebook group, um, my I had a seminar in November. Well, a psychologist, mindset guy. He found Renew the Mind clinic in my city anyway. He's having a seminar tomorrow afternoon, all day really. And two of his guests are his business coaches. One guy, his name is Christopher Kai. They call him the billionaire networker. He had Elon Musk at his homeless shelter where he gives back, doing an interview with him. The other guy is called the billionaire marketer. They're both going to be there. So guys, I'm giving 2 of those tickets away, virtual tickets. All right, I'm giving them to you. I don't even want nothing. I'll be there at the event, VIP, ultra VIP as they call it, man. I'm just there, support. But billionaire
Yeah.
networker, man, billionaire marketer. I'm going to give 2 of those tickets away. You can watch it anywhere in the country that you're at. Mindset and marketing and networking. If you heard Darren, he has talked about the networking he's done to get to where he's at alone. So I'm going to give these away to 2 people. On top of that, what's in there is my subject 2 courses in there, along with my webinar that I just had a few weeks back, my webinar and the other tutorial videos. That's going to be in there too. So 2 people are going to get that. I just want you to drop some flames in the comments. If you drop some flames in the comments, then me and Darren will pick a couple people out and hook you up. You guys can go to that. It's from 9 to 5:30 tomorrow Central. It's gonna be dope, man. So my fault, Darren. I had
No, you're fine.
do the whole YouTube thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, man, dude, talk to me about, I guess, how life is now, man, as an entrepreneur. After you made it through that storm, you proved yourself. You proved that you were committed, that you would sacrifice, do what was necessary. Um, how I mean, I know, being financially free is one thing, but I feel like it's freedom itself that people want. And being financially free is a tool to get there, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So just talk to me a little bit about, success, man.
Yeah, it's definitely something good. I see people struggling, and I'm like, man, just it's that's something I want to do, is like teach financial stuff, to people, like how to get out of the rut. Like they're living day by day and week by week, and I lived like that for a while. Just making
me too.
$400 a week and
Yep.
barely making it, and it's just a totally different world. Like if I go to Sam's Club, anything I see in there, I buy it. If I want it, if I see something, go to Walmart, whatever, buy all the groceries. I don't even think about money. Not that
Right.
I'm over here spending frivolously and just wasting
Right.
money,
Yep.
but it's just anything. If I'm sitting there and somebody walks in my shop and sells me something for $50 or whatever, I can buy it. go on vacations. Don't even worry about it.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a whole life changer. Being financially free, set like that.
Yeah,
Then you got this passive income rolling in. So I'm still working and staying active,
absolutely.
but just trying to grow it a little bit more. Get to a point. I want to retire down in the Keys, and I had an offshore boat. I actually sold the boat for a deal. I took a loss, man. I bought this boat brand new, and then paid about 120 grand for it. And then I had this house deal come up.
Okay.
So the house deal was let's see, it was the guy wanted 10 grand over what he owed. So the house was worth like at the time the house was probably worth about 270 maybe, and he only owed 210. So he's like, hey man, I want 10 grand over what I want 220 for this house. I'm like, man, that's a steal, So I was like, okay. So then I had this boat, and I was like, oh man, I don't, the boat was just, you going offshore, man, it's $400, $500, $600 to fill the tank up. And then paying the payment on the boat and paying. So it was like, I was like, I need to get rid of this boat. I spent so much time on this boat, because I was like, I'm going to be the guy that doesn't let it sit under the tree. So I was taking it out all the time, and my girl's getting mad because like, all you do is take this boat out, So I was like, this boat's got to go. So I let the boat go, and I think I sold it for like 80 something thousand, which I put some money down. So it gave me about 25 grand cash. And then I took that money, I paid the guy the 10 grand. There was a wholesaler involved in the deal, so I gave him the 10 grand that he wanted for the house.
Okay.
And then I paid the closing costs, which was like 3 grand. So I paid 23 grand on my pocket, but selling that boat gave me some of that money. And at first I was like, man, I just took a whipping on this boat because I lost, 40 grand on it. Essentially, by the time I bought the boat from what I sold it for.
Right.
I was like, oh man, I felt bad. But man, now that house is worth 375.
Oh my goodness.
I rented it out for 2 years. And in that 2 years, I cash flowed $600 a month. And then on top of that, the principal pay down, the guy that had it was in the military, and he had a 2.75% interest rate.
Right.
So the principal pay down was like $400 and some a month.
Oh my goodness.
I've had it for about 2 years now, and it paid down to $400 and some a month. So it was cash flow. It was basically $6,000 a month it was making me. And the cash flows on the backside.
Yeah.
Well, then what, I said earlier, never sell real estate, but what I've started realizing is sometimes these houses outpace the rent, right?
Okay.
So you're going to get the house that all of a sudden it was a nice house, and just, the economy blew up. Of course, the housing market's gone crazy. So all of a sudden it went up, and it's up to 375,000. Well, the most I can rent it out for is 2,500, maybe 2,400. And I'm like, okay. And, there's a 1% rule that most people say, hey, you should get 1% of the rent of what the house is worth. So $100,000 house, you should get $1,000 a month for. $375,000 house, you should get $3,750 a month.
Yeah, $3,750. Yeah.
The most I can get is $2,400. So something's wrong there.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, you know what? When these house values way outpace the rent, it's time to sell them.
And are you making a capital investment then back into the bit, like you're selling it, but you're grabbing up more properties?
Yeah. So I had another house out here in St. Johns County.
Yeah.
I paid $179. I put about 10 grand in repairs, just redid the floors and the carpet. And I had $189, and 11 months later I sold it for $330. So I was renting that house out for I was renting that house out, and I paid cash for that house. So I was renting that one out for $1,850 a month. So when I got up to $330,000, I'm like, man, it's way outpaced the rent. So I sold that house.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I talked to a lady. The house was worth about what was the house worth? About 135. And my buddy brought me the house. So I think I gave him like 3 grand. And she sold it to me for 75,000 cash, because she didn't know what it was worth. She didn't know that the housing market took off. So I paid 75,000 plus the wholesaler was 3 grand.
3,000. Yeah.
And I turned around and rent that house out for $1,400 a month.
Oh my goodness, man.
So I went from a $330,000 house at $1,850 a month to a $75,000 house at $1,400 a month.
Dude, you can't beat that. And all the capital that you brought in along the way. So these houses though that you're getting, man, you did get a large number in a short time span, right? So talk to me about how you got them, man. Like, what did you spend money on marketing? Did you invest in your business and spend money on marketing? How much did you spend? Go ahead, my bad.
Well, there's a couple, the first thing I did yellow letters. So yellow letter is like it's like on a little piece of paper with, lines on it. And it's just a yellow piece of paper.
Yep.
and somebody writes on, they don't handwrite, it's a machine that does it, but
Yes,
it's in like
yeah.
red ink. Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
it looks like it's a handwritten letter, and it just
Yep.
basically said, "Hi, my name is Darren. My wife Tina and I would love to buy our house at whatever address.
My wife Tina
Please
and
give
I.
me a call," and it has a phone number on it.
Oh my goodness. 1 second. Because the subtlety and the nuance of that, my wife Tina and I, is a fucking game changer, dude.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
little line right there. I got one right here, man, that I show people all the time that somebody sent to one of my properties, and it came to my house because I had to be the trustee of this trust because it was real fast. So I saw the address and it's 3008 Cornelia Living Revocable, and I'm like, shit, that's my investment property. Dude, that thing is terrible. What you just said there, that was a gem for the listeners. My wife Tina and I love it. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
I love art, man. I love art. That's art.
Yeah, and it works good. So then it comes in a little envelope that's handwritten, and it has your, your PO box or whatever address you want handwritten. So it looks like somebody mailed you like a Christmas card or something, So of course they open it up, and then it's real personable. Like me, my wife Tina and I would love to buy your house at whatever address, and they're thinking like, they literally think like I hand wrote this just for them to their house, and that was it. They don't realize I done shotgun them out to 10,000 people in the neighborhood, So I have people call me and they're like, "Hey, I really appreciate this letter, but why do you want to buy our house so much?" And I'm like, "Oh man, they don't realize it. They just think that I saw their house and liked it, And I'm like,
your wife Tina, and yourself.
Yeah, it's a personal letter. So that a lot of them just call me to find out why we want their house.
Yeah,
I'm like,
would rather sell to someone like that, someone like you. My wife Tina and I, they'd rather sell to someone like that, and they're more open to talking to you.
Yeah, and that's what happened. So the house that I just sold, I was just telling the story that I bought for 180. Well, had 189 in it, sold for 330. That lady, when I went to her house to talk to her, I was like, "Oh, how did you get my number?" And she was like, "Oh, I got this letter." And she held that letter for probably a year before she called me. So if you're sending out letters, they will call. And it was about a year later. And I was like, "What?" She's like, "I got this letter from you and your wife, Tina. You want to buy houses." I'm thinking, man, I haven't done that in forever. She's like, "I've had it for about a year." And I'm like, yeah, that's probably about what it was, And then she shows me a stack of letters. And she's like, "I have all these people sending me letters saying they want to buy my house. But yours was like the most personable one because it was you and your wife."
Wow. I'm about to shift my strategy. I got one of mine right here. I just got 2,000 in the mail, but this has a USP on it, a unique selling proposition. The report your lender hopes you never see. We do a free foreclosure relief report with these. We're going to be booming in Vegas and Denver, like you, man, shotgunning them things out. But I might shift a little bit. I love that letter, man. That's awesome, man. So let's take some questions real quick, man. We do have some questions on here. I got to get it in for the viewers, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Again, consider subscribing if you feel like you're getting some value tonight. This is Darren Fettik, Coast to Coast Properties, Jacksonville, Florida. Man, down there going hard. We're going super hard, man. Me and Darren gonna be. We're getting together. That is for sure. And I'm Gene Boykin. I'm the founder of the GoGetter Family. I'm out here, teaching people to become the bank and becoming the bank myself. But I always say, man, like I don't teach people in the classroom, man. I'm showing you how to do it because I'm doing it. So that's why you got to be careful, man, with these experts out here, man. I heard some people saying some crazy stuff about subject to, dude. I'm like, dude, what are you even talking about? And then they're trying to sell it to people. I was like, oh my goodness. But so let's see here. What department of the courthouse? So I think that's Gene Peterson. And guys, when you have a question, put where you're from. All right, I'm from small town Iowa. Darren was in Boca Licky, Florida, or whatever the hell. What did you say?
Jackson. Jackson? Oh, I'm in St. John's, Florida.
What was that small town you said you were in though, dude? Where the economy crashed, like the number.
Fruit Cove. Yeah, that was Fruit Cove, Florida.
Okay,
which is right around the corner from where I'm at now.
Okay, that sounds small as hell, man. I'm in Iowa, dude. I'm in Sioux City, Iowa. So I was like, oh,
yeah.
Man. But okay, so where do you record a memorandum of contract, and what department of the courthouse in Orlando? I would think he would take it to the comptroller recording office. So in Sioux City, Iowa, we take it to just the recorder's office. We don't have that comptroller, but it varies, where you're at. But recorder's office, man, or who you take it down there?
Yeah, if you want, you could just say, hey, where would I file a deed? If you go into the courthouse, there's a person sitting at the court. Just hey, where would I file a deed to a house? And then whatever they tell you.
the center is the clerk of courts, man.
Clerk of
Go ask
courts,
them. They'll direct you, right?
yeah,
They'll direct you.
yeah. Just
where
go
you
over
need
here to
go.
that window.
Mm-hmm. And then when you recorded it, you just told them you wanted to record it.
They'd have no idea. I think it was like $12. You know, if it's one page of paper, it was like $12. Two pieces of paper, it was like $5 each additional page or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can just give them the $12 and then just record it.
Record it.
know?
Well, ours is 24 hours. It'll be done in 24 hours. They can mail it to you or you can pick it up. Dude, I'm coming to pick it up. I just go pick it up,
Yeah.
dude. That's just me, you know. So how is the leads being found for subject to property? Exclude PropStream or batch leads. Hey, dig. I gotta know where you're from because I love the question. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I love PropStream. In all reality, I love PropStream. However, I have a much better way of finding foreclosures. Anyway, dude, this is where I found the one we're working on now, man. I look in my legal section of my local newspaper, because they have to be published. So foreclosures, to me, they're one of the best motivations because they have to sell, man. Their house is about to get auctioned off. You know what I mean? So they've got to do something. Their house is going to auction. They're not going to get anything, or they can save the house, right? One of the two. Or I can find them and they feel like there's nothing else anybody can do. I can't even do anything according to them until I show them that I am competent and capable and let them know that I'm on their side. Dude, my legal section, man. And then in Google, I put in Google the name of my county or whatever county. Matter of fact, I did Jacksonville on TikTok the other day, dude.
Did you?
I did a video real quick of buying free foreclosures, and I told them how to get it, dude. Just Google, put your Woodbury County Sheriff's sale. I'm in Woodbury County, Iowa. And somebody was like, well, I'm in Jacksonville and I can't find it. I just did it. And I'm like, all right, just in free time. I look, and dude, it was just right there. Just right there, dude.
Duval County.
I just did a video real quick, man. And it showed like the two, I guess maybe it's coming this Monday or maybe it was last Monday. There was two going up for auction, man. One at $120,000 judgment. So guys, Google your name of your county, sheriff's sale or sheriff's auction. Your legal paper for foreclosures. Darren, give them a tip, man, where you find these properties, excluding any softwares you have to pay for.
Yeah, so there's two things going out with the subject twos. One is who do you target? Like he's saying, PropStream or batch leads, like what do you type into there? Mm-hmm. And then the second thing is how do you actually get it subject to? So really the main target would be people with low or no equity, or people who are upside down, like people who had just bought houses. Military is probably a good one because military, they move a lot. So they'll buy a house, and they'll have it for 2 years and they're trying to move and they have no equity in the house yet. This is a huge stretch. I'm sorry. My son's bringing me an extension cord.
Do your thing, man.
Laptop's about to die here.
Yeah, man.
Right, thanks,
we went over on time, man.
I'm fine. Hey, we talk all night.
I love it, dude. Hey,
so military, right? So that's a good thing.
We're nerds, man. Not too many nerds know this stuff. You know what I mean? So I like talking about it. Anyway, go ahead.
So the military is a good avenue because they move a lot. You could say, hey, send out a postcard. Hey, no equity, upside down. You owe more than the house is worth. Can't cover the closing costs. We'll buy your house as is. Whatever.
Or me and my wife.
Yeah, my wife and I.
Yeah, use a different name than Tina, guys. All right, shit.
Yeah. So the list, like using PropStream and what list to pull, is probably low equity, no equity, upside down. Which, guys, listen, the biggest thing that might come up and the biggest thing everybody's going to say about real estate is what? I don't want to get into real estate right now because the market's so hot and it's going to crash,
dude.
Right? That's probably number one fear that everybody has.
That is true.
I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and get into real estate. Okay. Well, you know what? You can wait. But what's happening right now? So everybody's worried about it crashing. Number one, if let's say you buy a house right now at a high value, you take it subject to, you owe $350 on a $350,000 house, and that house drops in value and goes down to $275. When you buy houses, you have to figure out where your win or wins are. So you have to say, okay, I'm going to, when I do deals with clients and they like, oh, I want this high price and I want this high payment and I want this and I want that. I'm like, well, where do I win? Like I have to win. We both have to win somewhere. Right.
Right.
So I say, okay, you can win on equity. If somebody gives me a $350,000 house for 200 or 250, hey, I won on equity. If you're doing owner financing and they give you a 0% rate you're winning there because your payment's going to be low.
Yeah, and you're going
Or
to pay
same
off
thing, or same thing with the cash flow, right? If somebody told me, I'm going to give you $1 billion building, I'm going to give you a building for $1 billion, but it's only worth $1 million, but you're going to cash flow $5,000 a month. I can say, okay, I'm never going to pay this thing off, but I'm cash flowing $5,000 a month. So that's a win to
$60,000
me.
a year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a win to me because it was cash flow. So you could look at those few things, interest rate, cash flow, equity, and then really length of term could be another one.
Yeah.
Because if you take a house subject to and you owe 10 years on it, you bypass 20 years of the amortization schedule. So that's another win.
Yeah.
So one of the
and
things
you're on the downhill slide, right? You're paying more of the principal
yeah.
at that point anyway.
Yeah,
so.
you're paying a lot. You're paying a lot because you took the loan over. That's the huge thing with subject to is you could, like, I took one of the loans over. She had paid 16 years and she only owes 14. So I took this loan over. I had a 14-year loan instead of 30 years.
And didn't apply for it.
Didn't even apply for it and got tons of equity.
Yeah.
So
can't beat it.
Yeah. So so you got to win somewhere. So if you can buy the house subject to, even though it's worth $350, like right now it's top market, right? So you buy this house for $350, it's worth $350, and you can cash flow on it. Like, let's say their mortgage payment's only $1,200 because they got a 2.75% rate, and you can rent it out for $1,800 or $2,000. That's a $600, $800 a month cash flow. You're winning. So now let's say the house goes down to $275. Okay, so now it's worth $275. Does that really matter? Not necessarily if you're keeping the house.
And you can't eat equity.
You can't. Yeah, you can't eat equity. So if it went down to $0, okay, so what? You know what? Yeah. You know what's going to happen in the future? 10 years, 15 years, the house is going to go up. It's going to be worth at least $350 in the future. Yeah, it's going to be worth $400 in 10, 20 years. Who knows? Whatever.
And
but at that point,
it fluctuates, but it seems to always, though, in that fluctuation, it is heading on an upward trajectory.
It goes up and down.
Yeah,
and it's steadily going up and down, but it's going up and up and
upwards. Yep.
So right now at the top of the market, it doesn't matter because I'm still saying, okay, you know what, I'm cash flowing, so I'm good there. Maybe I lost on the house because it went down to $275, but who cares? Because I'm gonna keep it. Cash flowing $600, $800 a month, so I'm good.
So what are these sellers getting though? What are the sellers? Because what are they getting? How are they leaving the deal or even accepting it?
Well, so what the strategy was, okay, so say a house is worth $350. They owe $350 on it, it's worth $350. What happens if they go to the bank? Typically, you're going to lose 9-10% on closing costs, depending on the value of the house. If the house is worth $500,000, you might only lose 8%.
Yeah,
you got 6% in realtor fees, then you got all the closing costs and title searches and all that stuff. So you're going to lose. I say about 9 to 10% typically. So it's quick math. $350,000 house, they're going to lose $35,000 in closing costs. So you make them aware of that, and you ask them, and they know that because they probably already went to a realtor and they did a cost sheet on it, and it says, hey, you're going to net $315, and you owe $350. Do you have $35,000 to pull out your savings to cover these closing costs? And they don't want to pay that.
Right? Who wants to write a check to sell their damn house?
Nobody. Not me. Not really.
Me either. I can't.
So I don't want to. So what I would do is I'd go to them and say, hey, do you realize that this is going to cost you this, and you're going to walk away with about $315,000? Do you know that? And they'll say, yeah, we talked to a realtor. And the first question I would ask is I would say, and guys, listen to this because this is what's coming up if the market crashes, and if this is on your mind and the market's going to crash, this is what you need to know. I would say, okay, it's $315, you're $35,000. How can you pay? Can you pay for that? How do you plan on paying for that? And they're going to say, oh, I don't know. Or you say, how much do you have to pay towards that?
Ooh.
And now what you can do is get their house for $315 because they might say, oh, I don't have any money. They might say, I got $5,000 to put towards it. I got $10,000 to put towards it. Okay, great. Here's what we're going to do. Or the house goes down in value. Let's say the house went from $350 to $315 and they still owe $350 on it. Okay, well, with that in mind, how much can you pay now? Okay, well, I got $5,000. Okay, boom, they give you $5,000, and you say, okay, we work with a company, which is your company, your own company, that'll finance.
But you work with a company. You don't step in there like, oh, I'm the owner of the company and I'm this big investor.
So you could start a second company to take payments, I guess. So you say to them, okay, well, we'll work with a company, and what the company will do is they'll finance the difference. So that's $35,000. You're going to give me $5,000, so you're going to owe $30,000. What they'll do for you, since you probably have a low interest rate, is they'll match the interest rate on your loan now. So you get a good interest rate, and they just charge you that. What can you afford a month to pay on that balance? And they might say $100, $200, $300 a month. Now, guess what happened? You just got paid to buy the house because you're paying $3,500 in closing costs, $3,000 in closing costs. They gave you $5,000. You got a lease option buyer coming in with $10,000. You're up $12,000. They paid you $12,000 to buy a house.
You just got paid to buy a house, dude. That was some samurai ninja shit right there, man. And guys, that was beautiful. That was art, man. That was art at its finest right there.
Yeah, it's crazy. So now if anybody is worried about the economy going down and the house values going down, learn subject to. Learn. Because as soon as these house goes down in the next year, 2 years, when people are going to go trying to sell, they can't sell. They're all stuck. And guess what? They have really low interest rates. So their payments are going to be really low, which means you can cash flow. And even if the person said, hey, I can't afford nothing, I don't want to pay you a penny, I just want to walk away from the house, and they're hard at it and like, oh, well, I'll just let it get foreclosed. I'll let it mess my credit up. I don't care. I would still just say, hey, you know what? I'll just take it subject to. Don't worry about paying off the loan, and don't worry about the difference. But I'm going to try to get the difference, because really, if the house is worth $315, I don't really want to pay $350 for it.
Right. Boy, hey, you're a ninja, man. So this is what I've done on a couple of my houses anyway to get them for free. And this is a tip from Lou, really. Reading his book, buy, hold, what is it? Buy, hold, sell. Buy, hold, sell, man. Reading that book and specializing in foreclosures. I just ask the person, so what help have you asked your bank for thus far?
My bank? I don't have any bank loans.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like a seller, a foreclosure, like they're in foreclosure. Yeah, I'll ask them. I'll say, what help have you asked your bank for up to this point? And when they say, well, they wouldn't do anything for me, it was suck dealing with them, this, that, try to pay them half the money, they wouldn't take it, this, that. I'll end up getting it creatively. And then when I get the limited power of attorney signed information release, I call the bank, and get all that stuff put on record with them. And I'll get a forbearance if they still have it available, right? Yeah, I mean, or you can modify the loan, but I've gotten 2 forbearances. I got one now, man. I was just reading some of the letter to the people the other day, man. They just gave me another 9 months. No holding costs, guys. No mortgage payments on this bad boy. We're going to sell it. Our exit strategy is going to be an agreement for deed, pretty much contract for deed. And I had a person come there before it was fixed up with a $40,000 down payment. Now, I don't do work on houses, so, they walked in the house and they were like, shit, I'm out of here, but they came because of the neighborhood with that, all right? So now that it's going to be all fixed up, which I'm not paying for any of that, we're going to split the revenue down the middle, me and my partner, man, the revenue, guys, because I acquired the house. I paid what I paid, did what I did. I got the house, and he's doing the work. That's half and half, man. Doesn't matter if I got the house for free. I got the damn house, So he's fixing it up. We're going to at least get a $40,000 down payment on that thing. And I've still got that forbearance for 18 months. After that, we're going to do a loan mod on it. So there are ways, guys. You have to be a creative problem solver. And then you have to have this knowledge, man. And you can go out and study it on your own, right? And get some baseline knowledge. But if you want to be a high level ninja, like Jared just freaking just broke down for you guys on how you get paid, you've got to have a group of people, man, community, right? And then somebody that you can learn from, that you're bringing value to, that you're bringing value to. So let's see here. Charles Pagan, man, he's been in them comments. He said he would love one of those tickets. So Charles, man, I like that you've been commenting, man. Where did you say you were from, man? You said you were, Charlotte, North Carolina. I love Charlotte. I want to buy some real estate down there, but Denver and Las Vegas first. So Charles, I want you to email, let me put it in the comments here. Alessandra at the GoGetter Family. And we will get you a ticket also with the course to but there's a couple courses in there actually. Subject 2, and there's subject 2, and then my webinar that I have, man. So Alessandra at the GoGetter Family. Charles, you're one of the winners, man. I appreciate you. So Darren, man, I got to get out of here too. I know it's late over there in the East Coast. I'm on Central Time, so it's only 8:45. But man, to close, what closing words do you have for the people? And guys, this won't be the last time you see old Darren, man. Darren's my dog. Now I like Darren, man. Darren's my dog. I like Darren because he's been through hell, man, and he kept getting back up. And now he's living the life that he deserves, man. So I respect it, dude. I salute it. I really do, man. I do. So that's dope. What do you got for the people, man?
Man, I would say never stop learning. Number one, always just keep learning. Whether I'm driving around in my truck, listen to YouTube videos or YouTube or taking classes or whatever. And then, as far as progressing while you're learning, it's not that you have to sit there for 2 weeks straight learning everything and go out and do it. It's just every day make some little incremental change, like move forward a little bit, move forward the next day, move forward, just incremental. Like I've been taking classes since 2016. And the one thing I guess I wish I would have done was, as soon as I took a course, go apply it. Even if I failed, I would have failed forward. But I was the guy that was like, oh, I got to learn all this stuff. I got to learn this next class and next class. And I took classes for a couple of years, 2.5 years, 3 years before I even bought the first house.
Wow.
Because I was like, oh, I have to learn this. I have to learn that. I have to learn this. And I'm stuck in learning.
Analysis paralysis is what they call it.
Analysis paralysis. Yeah, that's it. So I got stuck in that. So I would say go out and just try it. And you're going to gain experience and you're going to fail forward, really. And then just, if you don't have to learn everything off the bat, but really just daily incremental changes, just add something one day, add something the next day, add something the next day, and just build it, go forward.
Man. So for the viewers that are on here that follow me on social media or members of the GoGetter family, you guys hear me say that very thing, man, all the time, right? It's about getting better every day, even if it's just a little bit, man. Yeah, a little bit. That's fine. Yeah, you got better, so you have made progress towards your goal. You've made progress, man. So you've got something to pat yourself on the back about, because you were committed that day to getting better in some way, shape, or form. So damn the results, be proud of that commitment. And the results are just a side effect of your commitment, guys. And also taking that action, man. I love it, dude. You got to take action, learn some stuff in the field. And you're gonna, it's bound to happen. And then also, you said fail forward. I'm like, dude, I don't believe in, that word failure, because you learn a lesson. That's what that fail forward is. You learn a lesson. So now I know how this doesn't work this way. So next time I'm doing it, I won't go that way, because I learned that lesson, man, that valuable lesson. So mistakes, guys, are valuable. They're valuable. So that's why I love doing this shit, man. It'll change your entire life, man. It changed my entire life. It looks like it changed yours.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Love it, dude.
And don't be scared to get a mentor.
Yeah, dude.
They cost, but it's well worth it.
It should cost money. Yeah.
I wish I would have got mentors years ago. I have multiple mentors, and I got a doctor that I work with. I have a nutritionist that guides me on food and picking food and other things.
I need to do that.
And then I had a guy that was, working out. I was working out using him, and then I had, of course, real estate mentors. But once I got my first mentor, and then I started getting different mentors for different things, I see like how much they go, like they keep you on track, and you got to answer to them, keep moving forward. They tell you things, they put everything together for you and tell you a plan exactly for you, and here, do this, and they teach you things like you're going to pay one way or another. You're either going to pay by, okay, I'm going to go for a year without a mentor, but you're essentially losing money. You're losing opportunity because you hire a mentor right off the bat. Hey, if I coach you in business, I'm going to say, do this, do this, do this, report back to me in a week. You don't want to come back to me in a week and say, oh, I didn't do anything, and waste money on the mentorship.
Right.
So, hey, boom, next step, next week, do this, have it done in a week. It's going to speed you up because you're going to be accountable for that.
100%.
And then in a week, you call me up, and here's your next step. Do this over the next week. And then boom, boom, boom. And then I'm giving you my knowledge as we go instead of you figuring out on your own.
Giving you the little details, man. We've got a Coach Alessandra, who Charles is going to be emailing. She's our head of outreach. So every Sunday she has the student success meeting, where they talk about their weekly goals, their action plan. Right. So we can stay online, man. We want you guys to be successful, but you've got to invest in yourself. And this pays exponentially, man. I can't even tell you the money that I've spent, man. I can't even tell you. Even I was an investor, man. I learned subject to. I got 4 houses, did 5 transactions in 90 days, man. And people were reaching out to me because of an interview I did. And I didn't know how to get the knowledge out of my head into, what's now the 7 steps to becoming the bank. I didn't know how to do that in the proper way so that people could understand it, man. I understood it, but me understanding it and everybody else is 2 different things. I paid a ton of money to learn how to do that, but I saw the value in it. Dude, I'm telling you, Darren, man, I went out and I tell this story. I went out, I bought 4 houses, did 5 transactions. So I had a little bit of money. You know, I went from kind of broke to now I've got some money because I'm getting them creatively. So, dude, I went out and I literally spent all of my money. And this was just recently, dude. It wasn't even that long ago, probably about 9 months ago, man. Yeah, well, it was in July. Yeah, it was in July. Spent all the money, man, down to $500. I maxed out my credit cards and I borrowed money from 2 friends to bet on myself. Yeah, really. But I'm like, my fiance, she was like, oh my God, you're gonna spend all that money. You just got all that money. And then she's like, you're not even getting anything. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm getting this knowledge. Like, this will take me forever. And I know what I'm gonna do with it. That's the difference. Like, I know that this knowledge is it. And then I know what I will do with it as a person, as Gene Boykin. So I don't care what it cost me, you know, and I did it. And then I went through that mark of adversity, man. Like, I was walking the tightrope, man, because, you know, some projections didn't go out the way that they did, the way that they were projected. But I did. Okay. You know, I've lived hard before. I've had hard jobs. So this is hard too, but this is for me and my family. This isn't a hard job. That's for somebody else in their family, right? So I just went through it, man. And now, man.
Yeah, and another point you brought up, you know, your fiance, she's giving you some slack about it. You know, sometimes the number one critics are going to be the people around you. You know, your wife, your husband, your fiance, your brother, sister, friends, whatever. They're going to, because they don't know, and you got it in your head, like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to succeed. I see it.
Right.
And, you know, they're going to give you hell, and you just got to, you know, hey, man, let me just do this. Go do it and succeed. And then they're like, okay, I see you succeeded, you know?
Yeah. Love it, dude. And now they're, you know, my fiance now, she loves spending a little money, going shopping, right? Yeah. So, but it's cool. You have to believe. If you know it in your heart and your soul, you have to believe. And that's why, you know, mindset, man, is a huge thing. It is a huge thing. And, you know, Darren spoke to that a few times, man, in the stories. So that's one thing with entrepreneurs. Like Darren was saying, man, you know, getting better, right? And failing forward. That's one thing with entrepreneurs. So if you are truly an entrepreneur and a go-getter, man, mistakes are valuable. Damn the mistakes. Just make sure you're taking action, getting better. So on that note, man, I got to get up out of here. I got to let Darren go, man. I know he probably got all types of stuff to do. I'm not a millionaire yet, though. I'm close. I'm close.
Yeah. You'll be there. No problem, man.
Oh, absolutely, man. So, hey, do you golf?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw your video on, I guess, Instagram the other day or something.
Okay.
You're out golfing on Wednesday or whatever it was. But yeah, I golf. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just got some new clubs, man. I'm gonna have to fly down there to Florida, man.
Yeah, I need to go to an event or something. Yeah.
For sure. We'll definitely link up, man. I'm gonna be getting in touch with you. I really appreciate you coming on tonight, giving all that knowledge, man, that you gave. We got one more ticket to the virtual event tomorrow too to give out. So dig. I like that question you asked. PropStream, batch leads. We're going to hook you up, man. We're going to hook you up. So you can also email Gene at thegogetterfamily.com. Gene, Gene, my name, Gene at thegogetterfamily.com. I'm going to get you those virtual tickets. All right. So guys, we're going to get up out of here. Thank Darren, man. Darren, where you at, man? Where can people find you at?
Yeah. They can find me on Instagram. It's Darren Fettik Real Estate.
I'll put the link in the description.
Darren Fettik, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the description, guys. I'll put his IG link in there, man. Go check him out. Give him a follow. You know, you guys are going to be seeing some more of Darren, man. We're going to do some IG lives, you name it. We're definitely going to go golfing.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah.
For sure. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right, man. All right. Cool. Thanks for having me on.
Yep.
All
See you guys.
All right, bye.
I'm a go-getter. They some